Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today I'm making a little video on the 5 key stages that you can actually expect to go through during a Kundalini awakening. Now this video is going to be helpful to those who have already stepped into the awakening journey through a Kundalini awakening, but you are wondering how long is this going to take? What am I going to experience next? And so on and so forth. So this video will kind of help you understand the stages of where you're at and how much further you need to go. But also, if you are a twin flame, and have not yet experienced this video is helpful for you as well, because all twin flames actually do experience a Kundalini awakening at some point on their journey. Now, the first stage in a Kundalini awakening is your trigger or your activation phase. This is simply that initial spark of when Kundalini finally starts to make herself known and starts moving through your body. Now, this can be triggered by something you're engaged in, such as meditation, breath work, meeting someone such as a twin flame that may trigger this for you, or it may be simply a spontaneous awakening where it just happens all of a sudden and you are just trying to figure out what is actually happening to you. Now, it's important to note that each person experiences a Kundalini activation very differently. While some may feel a tingling sensation throughout their body, others may experience a vibration, an electrical shock, shaking throughout their body. Others may experience an emotional release as Kundalini starts to work through the chakras. So it really does depend on how far or how many chakras she's actually moving through. Some may even experience that state of oneness, even though it might be for a really short period of time. But this will actually give you some sort of an idea of what to expect as you experience this activation. Now, the second stage in your awakening process is the purification and release phase. This is simply when Kundalini actually starts to rise up through the chakras, helping you to really release and, purge out any old emotions associated with wounding and trauma that you may have gone through. Now, this process can span anywhere from a year to several years, and it has a lot to do with the practices that you cultivate during your journey to help yourself through this process. This could be anything from meditation to acknowledging those old emotions and events that you might have gone through, dealing with the physical pain, finding exercises to help you, yoga practices that can really help you release this energy. So it does have a huge impact on how you're dealing with the emotions that surface and really releasing the pain associated with them. Now, the third phase in your journey is the integration and rewiring stage. This is simply when you are ready to get rid of the old and are willing to accept the new. You are able to anchor in the new frequencies, reach those higher states of consciousness because you are emerging as a new you. This simply means seeing through those old conditioned patterns, that systemic conditioning, and you have a higher perspective on your experiences and what you're going through in life. Instead of trying to satisfy the ego, you are trying to understand that soul-based you and making decisions from that centered place and really aligning with your soul's true nature. Now, with this phase does come a lot of confusion, a lot of healing, a lot of rest from the exhaustion that you may be experiencing, because it does take a lot of, a huge toll on your body at this time. You may be going through changes in appetite, changes in your physical body, but really just accepting the entire process is going to help you move through this phase more smoothly. The more you can shift into a more positive attitude during this phase, it will allow you to move through it quickly and easily as Kundalini works her way higher and higher, allowing the integration of those higher frequencies and higher states of consciousness. Now, that fourth stage in your awakening process or awakening journey is going to be when you start to experience that expansion of consciousness. And, this is going to vary for everyone in terms of what it looks like. But essentially, you should be able to feel a lot of inner peace. You are no longer worried about the past or the future. You are anchored into that present moment when you are awake, and not just during your meditation. And simply what's happening here is because you've been putting in that consistent work towards your purification through Kundalini being able to rise through the chakras, that energy is now rising to the third eye, moving closer to your third eye and to your crown. And so this is what it's going to feel like on the inside. You will feel very anchored. You will start to really, see past the illusions in your 3D. You are getting closer to possibly even experiencing temporary states of oneness as you go into meditation, but not really solidified there yet. You might even start to come into some spiritual gifts. You might also start to possibly have a more heightened intuition than you did before. And so all of this together can start to give you some sort of a feel of where you really are on the journey, understanding that, keeping up with your meditation is really going to help you move further along and helping Kundalini reach that destination point, which is the crown chakra. Now, the fifth and final stage in your Kundalini awakening that you can expect is when Kundalini finally completes that purification process, moves up through the third eye and out through the crown. And this is where she actually unites with Lord Shiva. And that is why we call this union a divine union. And so really what's happening at this phase is you have now completed that purification process and you start to live not from that place of ego or that mind, but really from that place of your soul. And therefore your actions and purpose in the real world are going to be more heart-centered and more soul-centered in terms of what you begin to do. So those that have a higher calling, example is your twin flames and your light workers that may be going through a Kundalini awakening, you will find that you move from that place of ego, place of fear, and really move into that place of creativity and heart-based in terms of living through your purpose. It's really an embodiment of what your soul truly desires, and that is what you are going to replicate in the 3D and start to live from that place from there on. So I really hope this video was helpful in terms of understanding the 5 stages of your Kundalini awakening and helps you move through this journey if this is what you're on or expect to in the future. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.